This is an African spurthide, also known as a sulcata.
This African spurred tortoise looks harmless, but it's not. It competes for resources with the native gopher tortoise, which is critical to Florida's ecosystem.
They dig these big burrows underground, and a lot of other animals are going to use those for shelter as well. If gopher tortoises are declining and they're providing homes for hundreds of other animals, then what's going to happen to all those other animals?
There are hundreds of non-native animal species in Florida. Some take over their new habitat, threatening the environment.
Nature relies on variety, and when you don't have variety, it's just more susceptible to collapse.
Florida spends more than $500 million a year trying to contain invasive species. But is it a losing battle?
Once a species starts reproducing in the wild and they have a system that works for them, it's almost next to impossible to eradicate them.
Like the Burmese python. 30 years ago, many escaped a local breeding facility destroyed by a hurricane. Today, there are tens of thousands of pythons in Florida.
It can take out one of our apex predators, which are alligators and crocodiles, and then it'll take down some of the other native animals that are small mammals, some of the rats, the mice, the marsh bunnies, things that are supposed to be food for other things. So they compete with our native animals, and because they're a more dominant species, they win that battle.
What's the rooster say? Ooh, that was a good one.
Many invasives were once someone's pet.
Animals can be a lot of work. The parrots are loud. They live almost 80 years. Tortoises can get really big and live 100 years. So it's a big commitment to have a lot of these animals. People sometimes just go, it's nice in Florida. We'll just let it loose.
Feral hogs, introduced by Spanish explorers centuries ago, are everywhere in Florida. They dig up the soil, sometimes destroying restored native plants.
And then also it actually creates a secondary opening for invasive plant species then to move into those disturbed soil areas. So not only are they destroying what we're doing, they're also creating an opening for additional invasive species.
The Tiger Creek Preserve is home to one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world, says Preserve Manager Cheryl Millett.
It's a biodiversity hotspot, and we have a lot of things that don't exist anywhere else. And if we lost them here, we wouldn't have them anymore on Earth.
It's easy to spot the damage done by wild hogs, but Millett is most concerned about encroaching non-native lizards.
And they've been found using gopher tortoise burrows in South Florida. They've found baby gopher tortoises in the guts of tegu lizards. I'm really worried about their potential impact here.
This invasive species.
Florida officials use hunts, monitoring, exotic pet amnesty programs, and other methods to combat invasive species. But it's a battle with no end in sight. Dora McQuarr, VOA News, Orlando, Florida.